Hello, and come join us in our not a review, but a Grinch discussion.
Dr. Seuss Grinch discussion.
Is it Dr. Seuss's The Grinch?
Seuss.
Or is it The Grinch Who Stole Christmas? Did they change the title of this? Is it just Dr. Seuss's Grinch?
I think it's just Dr. Seuss's Grinch.
Why did they change the title? They should just leave it. It's
They
The
never
Grinch Who
did.
Stole Christmas.
No, you can't have the same one if you do it every 2 years.
It's The Grinch
Make
Who
a
Stole
new one
Christmas.
every 2
All
to
right.
5 years. You can't do that.
It's
I think it's Dr. Seuss's Grinch.
Dr. Seuss's The Grinch.
I think.
You think? Well,
It
we'll
might just be Grinch.
We'll figure it out. Anyways, are you ready to... Oh, well, you threw me off my game. What are you doing? Anyways, the way
I
we
made
like...
it better. I made it better.
You sure did. All right, so we're Jim and Sam. The way we like to do things here is that we like to give a recommendation on the film first, and then from that recommendation, we like to ask each other a series of questions to figure out why we gave it the recommendation that we did.
Great.
So with that said, you ready to give a recommendation?
I am ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
See it.
I am super shocked I gave it a see it.
Howdy ho.
Howdy ho. I absolutely was not excited to see this movie at all.
I was bugging you all week. I was like, the Grinch is this week, but the Grinch is this week.
I was not
Grinch
excited. There was
is this
nothing
week.
about the trailers in this film that made me excited to see it.
I
I was super charmed. With that said, welcome to the show. This is 10 Minute Takes. Let's get into it.
Grinch.
So, The Grinch. Everyone knows the story of The Grinch. And if you don't know the story of The Grinch, yeah. It's the Dr. Seuss's The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. It's a book. Super easy read. You probably, someone read it to you when you were a kid. So, with that...
Unless you don't celebrate Christmas. Maybe you don't know.
Maybe, but it's The Grinch. Everyone knows The Grinch. It's a super... It's like one of the most famous children's books ever written. But
Anyways,
if you don't know, it's this little... It's hard to even describe. Anyways,
it's about a green Grinch who doesn't like Christmas and decides to steal Christmas because he's a Grinch.
and he wants to steal Christmas from the little Whoville that lives below him.
Great.
So,
I
anyways...
don't know how hard that was. Why was that difficult?
I don't know. Yeah, it's so easy. Okay, so for me, first thing I want to talk about is the expectations of this film going into it versus how we felt actually coming out.
Okay.
What were your expectations coming into this film?
I thought that it was going to be a charming, whimsical kids movie, and I thought it was going to be very comical and just like a modern twist on the classic story of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Okay.
And I think it delivered.
Were you going into it thinking it was going to be, were you like really excited that it was going to be like a great film? Did the trailers sell you on the movie?
Oh, totally. And it could be because I just kind of love the Grinch and the Grinch stories. I mean, yeah.
Because that's where I feel totally opposite with you. Phone down.
I'm sorry that I'm making you so mad.
Phone. It's okay. It's carpet floor. It's not going to break my phone.
Well, if you throw
Because
it hard enough, let's test it.
Stop it.
You've had a teeny phone for years. It's time for an upgrade.
There might be. But anyways, the trailer for this film, I've not liked the trailers for this film at all. The trailers have felt like advertisements for people's music and voice actors. None of the trailers ever gave me the full scope of what this story was. Every time it's like, music by Taylor the Creator. I guess, I think that's who it was, but he's the one that made like the original Grinch song that's in it. It's like, you're a monster.
Mr. Grinch.
Yeah, is that what he says? I don't know what he says, but that's like the chorus of the song, you're a monster. And it's like got this like dub beat thing going with it. But it's in the trailer.
Wait!
It's in the trailer.
You have no heart. You're a Grinch. You're a
Icy
Grinch
cold
with
heart.
a small, not a cold heart, a small heart. You just have to practice and make it bigger. With kindness and love.
Ugh, but yeah, the trailers have been middling to uninspiring to me. And this is someone who used to cut trailers for a living that I never liked working on stuff like that. Maybe it's just my own personal feelings. Anyways, I was actually super shocked by the film when we actually got into it, because it's very heartfelt, there's a lot of stuff that this film does right. I felt like there's very little about it that I actually disliked. And I felt like the trailers were not a good representation of the film that I got. So for me going in, I had super low expectations. And my expectations were like down here. So they can see me. I don't know where my camera line's at.
You're like
my expectations
down
are
here.
like, they're down here. They can't see my hands. My expectations were like here. But the film delivered like up here.
Yeah.
And I was super surprised. I was really happy about it. So my next question is that since your expectations were met, do you feel like they kept the spirit of the Grinch character intact with this film?
I actually thought that this was the best portrayal of the Grinch that I've seen.
You got hair in your face.
Wow. Okay, you could have just told me.
No, I got to do it for you.
Romance. I think the one thing that I really liked what you were saying is that it was heartfelt, and I would think that's because this one, no, I'm seeing my hair, that this one really gave a big background to the Grinch's story. In other Grinch's story, they kind of like piece it in, but you don't really get the full understanding of the Grinch like you did here. Like, you really got to see him as a kid in the orphanage and how sad it was growing up without Christmas, and when you live in a town that celebrates Christmas as the shining day of the year. So I think they did a really good job with the portrayal of the Grinch. For sure.
I agree, because all those segments you're talking about when he was a kid, and he's on the outside looking in at them celebrating Christmas, and he never had a family to celebrate it with.
Yeah.
Was, I don't want to say it was heartbreaking, but it made you see why he was the way that he was, and it made you care for him.
And I think the best thing about the Grinch in this one was that right off the bat, he wasn't like mean all the time. Like, he had nice heartfelt moments with Max and the reindeer.
Yeah.
So I think that they really was able to be like, yeah, he's a Grinch, here's why, but he also did kind of try to be kind, even though he just didn't have a heart that was big enough for him to do that.
No, agreed. All your points are good points.
Is there anything that like really surprised you about the film because you went in not really expecting it to be wonderful?
Two things surprised me with this.
Two things.
Okay, so first thing that surprised me with this was that one of the things that was never conveyed in the trailer is that the trailer made it look like it was a story that was just the Grinch, but this film is well balanced between the Grinch and the people in Whoville, where you had the little girl that wanted to get her like letter to Santa, and then she wanted to get her that message to Santa when she couldn't get the letter there, and then you had her mom.
The girl is Cindy Lou.
Cindy Lou, that's it.
You need to say Cindy Lou. It's Cindy Lou.
I'm not too familiar with the Grinch story. It's been a long time since I've read the book.
You don't say.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And then you have Cindy Lou's friends, where they have the plot where they want to capture Santa so they can give him a message for Cindy Lou. You have Cindy Lou's mom. There's this guy who thinks he's the Grinch's best friend. Mm-hmm. And all of this stuff was left out of the trailer. And I feel like if that stuff was in the trailer, my expectations going in might have been a little higher. So maybe it was like maybe for the best, because I was actually surprised by that balance.
Yeah.
Where we would get scenes with the Grinch, then we would get scenes with Whoville, then we would get scenes with the Grinch, and then we would get some scenes with Whoville.
I would actually say that something that I kind of had a dislike for was that the interaction between the Grinch and Cindy Lou was a little bit minimal.
Yeah, there's only a couple.
In the past Grinch movies, that's kind of a core relationship that builds from the beginning to the end of the movie. However, I really liked the approach of the Grinch, and I liked Cindy Lou's story and why she was trying to get a hold of Santa and how she ran into the Grinch.
Yeah.
It just was very different from other movies, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. And so the second thing that surprised me about this movie that I liked a lot, so another thing that was completely left out of the trailers, is the film's narration. So this film has a narration that when like the Grinch is doing stuff or when like things are happening on the screen, there's a guy that comes on, or he doesn't come on, but you hear a voice. And
that's
the voice,
normal for the films.
And the voice sounds like it's reading the book to you. So you hear like a description, and the voice is reading like the description of the things that are going on. And it's not totally verbatim like them reading the book.
It's a narration. He's telling the story through the eyes of an observer.
Yeah. And they rhyme from time to time. They try to do it. I feel like they were trying to rhyme when they could, but they don't rely.
Okay, so.
All right, go ahead. Because we have different views on this the narration for the film.
See, my issue with the narration was that it wasn't Dr. Seuss enough for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't Dr. Seuss enough for me. It didn't have as much rhyming as I wanted it to. I mean, his entire books are rhymes. Not saying that the narrator should be rhyming from the beginning of the movies for an hour and a half, but I felt like it could have used more like Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, no, I agree with that it could use more Dr. Seuss, but I still really, really liked the narration and how they did it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel like I was being hit over the head with like, this is a Dr. Seuss movie with the rhymes.
Yeah,
but I can understand where people would want more of the rhyming aspects.
The narration. I think that with the story itself, it had a really good balance of having a few things where they rhymed a little bit and then they had regular conversations and like a cartoon. Because it is an hour and a half. It'd be very hard to have it all rhyming.
There was one thing about the film that I actually really did like when it happened and was a little disappointed when it didn't happen again. But there's a little hint of a musical number in the film. And the first time the Grinch goes to Whoville. And I thought it was turning into a musical. And I was like, oh, I didn't know the Grinch was a musical. And it's Christmas carolers. And they're following the Grinch around.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious. And then like they all of a sudden they surround them and they like start singing a song. And there's like a song and dance number.
Yeah.
As they're chasing them through the little Whoville village. I was like, oh, this is going to be a musical. That's super cool. But that never came back, and I would have liked more of that. I was actually pleasantly surprised when I saw that pop up. And I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. This is going to be like a musical version of the Grinch story.
You're getting old when you like really enjoy musical numbers in movies.
I'm old. I ain't old. You're old. I'm not old.
You're hurting my soul.
You're hurting my soul. I ain't old.
I feel like people, as you get older, you really start to enjoy more like of the musical. And that was our biggest complaint about the Nutcracker, was that there wasn't enough musical number.
Yeah, and the Nutcracker is a whole nother story. But that was another aspect of the Grinch that I wish they had went more into. Mm-hmm. They just did one, and it was fine. Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. I think that the carolers, I could have watched a movie all on those carolers.
Yeah, those carolers were
even
funny.
Like
they were super
like
creepy
a cartoon,
too.
Like a cartoon of this, like a 20-minute cartoon on Saturday morning around Christmas time. I would like taking that away and putting that in like the front of a Pixar movie, even though that wouldn't happen because not the same. But yeah. Like having a little clip of them singing for Christmas would be fun.
So was there anything about this film that you didn't like?
No, I think my biggest takeaway for a complaint, as much of a complaint as it can be, was that there wasn't enough interaction between the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who.
Okay.
Only because in the past, that's like what really builds the Grinch and how he turns out to have when his heart grows 3 times, which I thought that was very cute. That in the beginning they were like, we want to make Christmas 3 times bigger, and then his heart grows 3 times.
Oh, that is cute. I didn't catch that.
I just caught it right now when I was talking about this.
I didn't. That's cute. I didn't catch that.
That's adorable.
That is. They want to make. So Whoville wants to make Christmas in this particular year 3 times bigger, and the Grinch's heart is 3 times too small. I think it was 3 times too small. Or was it 2 times? It's 3 times too small.
I think it's 3 times. I don't know. We could be wrong. Let us know in the comments.
But yeah, that was a cute touch.
I just realized that. Okay. I think we can wrap it up.
Well.
Or was there something else we want to talk about?
There's an element that I didn't like.
Okay, what didn't you like? Oh, that's right. You
don't pay attention to me. What is this? Get out of here.
Is there anything about this film that you didn't care for?
Get out of here. It'll be just me and the audience from now on. It'll be me and you guys.
No. That would hurt my feelings. That would make my heart grow too small. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, just go.
Okay. I've said this before in other films, in other discussions we've had, but one of my biggest pet peeves with films is when they use pop music in their films. I feel like it dates it. And this film uses a bunch of pop music. It uses I
thought that's what made it modern, though. Like, I think that was fun.
I think they used Mambo number 5 for like 10 seconds.
Did they really? I didn't even catch it.
I think it's Mambo number 5. It's like, got a little Monica in my ear or something like that. It's the one where he's like, where the Grinch is like, hey Max, what do you want to do? And then all of a sudden it like slam cuts to Max and the Grinch in a car, and Max is driving the car, and the Grinch has got his face out, and you hear like, got a little Monica in my, whatever that song is. I don't know. I can't remember.
In my life.
Yeah.
A little Jessica.
That song's playing. I think it's Mambo number 5, right?
Yeah, it is, but I don't remember that sequence. I remember the sequence, but I didn't realize it was that song.
And there's like those little things peppered throughout that, like when it pops up, it's always like an eye-rolling moment for me. And that's just me with my dumb critiques. I'm sure there's a lot of people laughed at it.
I noticed that a lot of kids' movies lately are having a lot more pop in them, like pop music.
I don't mind what's originally done.
Smallfoot did the same thing.
Yeah.
Very pop music. I think you just like soundtracks. You really enjoy soundtracks. So when you
hear... Or original music. There was...
Like original music or... Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Like the Tyler, the Creator song. I think that's his name. Maybe it's Taylor, the Creator. But he's like the Monster song. That's in the beginning of the film. It's also in the trailer. That was an okay sequence. They only used it once. It wasn't overly done. But then when they're using pop music from like the 90s and like montage sequences, it's kind of like...
Yeah.
Okay. It's a minor nitpick. I mean, it didn't ruin the film. I gave it a C. I actually really liked it a lot. So, final question.
Put your finger in my face.
I got a final question.
Okay, what's your final question, sir?
I am not old. Stop that.
What's your final question?
Of the Grinch movies, you only get to watch one Grinch movie for Christmas. Is it the Jim Carrey Grinch or is it this Grinch?
Like this year? Are you not going to let me watch another Grinch?
What's your choice of Grinch movies? Do you watch the Ron Howard directed Jim Carrey live action Grinch, or do you watch Illuminations?
I feel like it's a new era. I think I would watch Illuminations.
That's a good choice.
It's a new time.
Because that Jim Carrey one is awful. That one is, no one likes that movie.
I do.
I saw you watching it actually a couple of months ago. You do like it.
Stop! Why do you put me on blast? You're roasting me. Stop it.
I'm not.
Take that
I've only seen the movie once. I can't actually talk to it if it's good or not, but I know a lot of people are not fond of that one.
I think the only reason I like the Jim Carrey Grinch is because it was like a childhood Grinch. It was my childhood Grinch.
We were younger when that one came out. So...
Don't
I can understand that. Is there an original animation Grinch movie? Is there like a Thanksgiving special that they did? I feel like there is.
There's a few different like cartoony Grinch, how the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
But yeah, if you had to choose
like
the live action Grinch, the better Grinch film is definitely this one. This one's definitely better than the live action one.
You just said you don't know if you've really seen it.
I've seen it once, but I know if you're going to put me down, like, hey, you have to watch the live action Grinch movie, you have to watch the animated one. I'm going to pick the animated one.
The animated one.
That's the one I go with.
I think this is the new Grinch that I will watch for the next 20 years of my life every summer.
I will also say that I think this is a good family film. When we saw it, it was packed with families.
Okay, but we saw it at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. And I feel like this is... The kids felt like they were being engaged with the film. Outside of a few loud kids that seemed like they were too young to be there.
They were kids. Oh, stop it.
Yeah, but a lot of times you go to the movies and you can tell like when a kid's film is being too slow for kids and they get restless and loud.
I think just by the end of the movie, some of the kids were getting restless, but I didn't think... I would be fine taking my 3-year-old nephew to this, or a 2-year-old
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like this was good for kids. I felt this kept them entertained.
It did, but you said that some of them were too young to be there. I don't think so. They're kids.
Well, there was one right behind us. He was kicking my chair. He was going... Rah!
He was a kid. Like, what did you expect? Do not be nitpicky about this. They were children.
Sounded like there's a baby velociraptor in the chair behind me.
He was cute. I thought he was funny. Every time it was funny, you kept hearing him say, "That was funny. That was funny. That was funny." I thought it was adorable. That's what I like going to this movie about, is that you get to see all of the kids laughing.
There were also older people. They're like older couples. There was some older women in the front.
There were a lot of older couples.
There was an older woman in the front row that was like laughing at a lot of these hysterical parts. I think she really liked it that the Grinch wore fur-colored pants.
She laughed very hard at that. I was like, okay.
I was a little weirded out when the Grinch got up and he was wearing underwear. I was like,
what? what is he doing? And
So
then
that's a little strange. And then he put on like the Grinch fur pants.
That was pretty funny. That was good.
But then I think they realized that it was a little weird, and they never brought the underwear back, which I was kind of happy about.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the opening sequence was just him in his little whitey tighties. Okay, that's it for me. Is that it for you?
That's it. We're getting slap happy. We need to finish this one. Nip this one in the bud.
Oh, this one was good.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Okay, that's it for us. That was
Being silly.
saw a bunch of movies this weekend. If you like this video, like and subscribe if you want to see more. We got more coming. We do at least 2 videos a week. We try, and if we don't do 2 videos a week, we make up for it in the following week. So like and subscribe. Hopefully you followed along with the discussion in the comments below. If you have any questions for us about things that we didn't talk about in the film that you would like to get our impression on, let us know. So, and just say, what did you guys think of the movie? I don't know what else to say. Is there anything else? Is there anything else to ask him?
I don't know. Like and subscribe, be our friend, comment. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.